Good morning. I was just thinking of the people that are being brought in here. So you have tens of thousands of these predominantly men being brought in here, okay? And there's a wide array of thinking around what these people are for. So on this end of the spectrum, you have the idea that these people are impoverished and they've been threatened in their homelands and they need to come here for some sort of safety and to be looked after, okay? Why all the men then, right? So on the other end of the spectrum, you have the idea that these men are UN soldiers or soldiers serving or hired by the UN, and they are here to round up nationalists or people that oppose the current government, and they're also here to take over and to maybe Islamify this country, okay? So we don't know, and that's the interesting thing, and that's the unnerving thing about that, is that we don't know. But I would ask you this: if it is the case that we're bringing these people in for safety, then number one, why all the men? Number two, why men of military background? Because there's a lot of these people that were asked, where you're from, Afghanistan, were you in the Taliban? Yes. There's another guy that was asked, why are you in Ireland specifically? Why are you here? He said, the army. Right? So because these people are fenced off, you can't just go and ask them what their purposes are here, right? We also had in Trother House, you had the two boys, Eastern European, potentially Georgian people, big beefcake men, right? Filling their t-shirts, ballies on, escorting an Irish woman off the property. What are they here for? You also had the whatever centre you want to call it, up the Wicklow Mountains beside an Irish army barracks. What's going on there? You then had Irish soldiers come down and try and remove Irish people from the site. What's going on there? Right? So, like, it's not just speculation. Like, there's evidence to suggest these things. The evidence to suggest that these people are coming from war-torn countries, that's not there. That's not stacking up. Okay? So, you weigh up the options. And you lean towards the one that has the most evidence towards that, without accepting it as a given. It just has the most evidence towards it, so it's logical to lean towards that conclusion, right? So if we are in the position where there's tens of thousands of these people being brought in here from military backgrounds, again, that doesn't mean that they're here for military reasons. Some of these people are saying they're here for military reasons, right? I would just ask you this then. What are they waiting for? They're waiting for something, okay? Because there's enough of them here. We seen the other day that the numbers in the Irish armies after falling below 6,000. So there's more of these men after being brought in here, potentially military men, right? That now outnumber the amount of armed forces in Ireland. So what are they waiting for? If the goal is to totally take over Ireland, what are they waiting for? Are they waiting for a drop in population? If they've decided that the numbers of Irish people is too great to go and directly confront it, then are they waiting for a population fall off? We can see that the population is falling off in terms of new babies being born, but they wouldn't be interested in that because that's not a direct issue for them. If their issue is to come here and take over the country militarily, that wouldn't be a direct issue for them. That'd be down the line problems. So are we looking for, or are they waiting for a population fall off in terms of men? So 18 to 60, whatever. Men that can move, right? Men that could pose a problem to people that want to colonize the territory. Is that what they're waiting for? If that's what they're waiting for, then how would that come about? What sort of event, what sort of rapidly occurring illness or ailment could manifest to drop off the population to such a degree that these boys then will be ready to go and implement whatever orders they have, if they have any, right? All things to entertain. Are they waiting for something internationally? Because there's an awful lot of things going on internationally. So these lads are brought in here by EU and the nation states, right? Or those that are saying they're leaders of the nation states across Europe, barring a few countries that are withstanding it or withholding it, standing up to it, right? Holding it off forever. So, I would imagine, given the fact that the Irish politicians, they're bringing in these people and they're saying that we need to buffer up the pension, we need to get these people working, we need to look after them, and we need people to keep the economy going, right? Keep your Costas open, keep your coffee shops open, keep your delis open, all that stuff. Why aren't they bringing back Irish people? So if they're interested in these things, then surely your first step would be to try and entice Irish people that have emigrated to come back. But they're not doing that. They're doing the opposite. They're making it incredibly difficult for Irish people to come home again, right? So they seem to have a preference for these types of people, these types of men coming in here. Why? Are they there to serve a purpose that is in line with what the government want? If they're not there to enact policies, then are they there strictly as a buffer between the Irish people who are growing in their anger and their dislike for these politicians? And they've every ground to do so. Are these people brought in as a buffer between the Irish people and these politicians? You see Leo Varadkar and Simon Coveney, among others. They're the most notable ones, who stepped aside and said, we're not into politics anymore. Why? Why not? What do they see coming down the line? What have they seen coming down the line in order to bring these people in as a buffer, if that's what they're here for? Do the decisions that this government has made over the last 5 years, have they anything to play into it? There's plenty of meat there to chew on, because you had 100% crimes against humanity implemented on not just the Irish people, but across the Western world. Are these politicians concerned about the repercussions of that? There was, 14,000 claims gone in against the English government in the last few months, in the last year, about adverse reactions to these things. You'd have similar in Ireland. I think Stephen Donnelly, said that the number of excess deaths in Ireland is about 12.5%. So you have an extra 1 in 8 people after dying over the last few years, higher than what would be deemed normal. What's the cause of that? Are these people terrified of the consequences of these actions coming down the pipeline? And are these men being brought in here as a buffer for that? Stoke the ethnic animosity, let that ride out, declare state of emergencies, suspend all elections, suspend the constitutions, take hold of the economy and take hold of the media. That would be the powers that this government would allow themselves by declaring a state of emergency, built on the back of rising ethnic tensions between people who are from here, live here, and this is their homeland, and other people that have just been shoved in on top of them. So what are they waiting for? Are they waiting for the Trump to get back in? Feathers could be far more than ruffled then, if you're to believe anything he's saying, okay? So, and it's the same issue in America. 20 million people are after crossing the border. 20 million people are after crossing the border into America. What's going on there? Why all of a sudden you go from these Western leaders and politicians who are living as kings and declaring themselves as near demigods to be able to decide where you go, who you spend time with, how you work, where you work, and where you can go and get your food or not. They go from living there to all of a sudden going, I'm not in politics anymore, and I'm gone, I just want to go back to living a normal life. What happened? Something happened there. Something happened. They were so sure of themselves a few years ago that they were ready to pull out the firing squads and line you and me up against the wall. Something happened. Now they're buckling and they're leaving in droves. There's tens of scores of politicians that in Ireland alone that have decided, I'm not running again. The same in America. Why? What happened there? And what are they waiting for? Fascinating times. Whatever it is, it's happening. And it's yet to come to fruition. And I am looking forward to seeing it, but being prepared for whatever negative outcome could come from that too.